that scaphoid. We didn't think he was going to be able to go out this weekend, but of course he is. Just like Alex Rins, who dislocated his too. We have got Men of Steel in MotoGP for FP1 of the Grand Prix of Andalusia. Back-to-back races session, mainly about the back-to-back races, how that might affect things over the weekend. However, let's talk about these.
It's one of those injuries that can niggle. It doesn't get a lot of blood supply to the scaphoid, so it's a small bone, so good that it was identified, because sometimes it can take, I know Cal didn't feel it until, so they've got on it early, obviously put that pin in it, and it will be painful. Anything's painful when you've had it cut open, but it still will be tough riding with that.
He's
that
not
scaphoid.
using the scooter brake, is he? Like some people have been.
I'm not sure it again at the end of last year. I'm not actually sure what he's chosen this season.
For people who don't know where it's called the anatomical snuff box, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what the actual medical term. And you'll see so what they've done is they put a pin in to make that blood keep flowing. This was Alex Rins's crash last time night that we'll talk about in a second. First of all, the crash itself. What's the situation?
Well, it's a strange one to crash when there is a yellow flag out there. It could have been, normally in those circumstances, if Jack hadn't been there, Alex would have been fine. He would have had because he went into the gravel on his wheels and then tried to avoid Jack. That created a massive tumble for him. So that obviously then we had the kickback on the yellow flag situation.
Yeah, interesting. Last night there was yellow flags are out, double yellow flags it was previously, which I wasn't really aware of the concept too much. But now either we'll see the times, but those are lap times aren't going to count anymore. Now this leads me to a yellow flag situation. I'm almost sure that wouldn't happen. Almost. With their limited two parts, you know. So
exactly.
People will do anything, but that is going to be during qualifying. Or yellow flags, this could cost them. Well, now it's going to be even more crucial than ever.
There will be someone who will try and exploit it at some stage, and I don't fully agree with it, because yes, Fabio and walked through the corner safely, but opened the gas earlier, and that made that sector fast for him. That's actually the key. Is hard to do, but that's what gives you the lap time. You use the grip from the tyre. So there is an argument to say if you looked at Bart, that didn't affect the sector, but under this new rule, that lap time would have been taken away and he would have lost his pole position. So yeah, from top of the game, and generally they do make safe decisions.
The thing for me, right, that I've got a bit of an issue, we just haven't seen this before, coming down out of turn 5 onto the back straight. So was there a collision with Polisbar? A little crest there.
Yeah, it's so, if you want to hold on that front brake, you're risking taking a trip through the gravel.
Just about the yellow flags, just to go back to it and try and finish it off a little bit. We were impressed by him. Generally only getting 2 flying laps, aren't you? Really? Some of the long tracks in particular, getting 2 runs, you probably only get laps for you. And that your outlap's what's counting ultimately. That is possible, isn't it? Is that good for the sport? No, I do agree, and don't get me wrong here, I'm not wanting people to ride fast through. Yes, generally felt the force. You know, I don't know. It's just one of those. The fastest laps aren't taking pole position.
No, and that was Jack Miller's big gripe, that under a control don't have another tyre or the time on the clock to pop in and pit lane and get another go and really go through it with a fine-tooth comb. And we don't want more intervention from their part.
That's it. There by a few people last time out after what happened, and I can completely get their point. You know, you've got a rider stricken in the gravel because it's not Formula 1 as well, where it takes 10 minutes to get things and people. It's something we'll come up against over the weekend. We've currently got a KTM 1-2 with Polisbar. Good first practice for Moto3 in cool conditions. But KTM had a really good showing. In fact, it's a 1-2-3, isn't it? He was right in touch with Frankie Morbidelli. It was right down to that last lap. Brad Binder's lap times were, that KTM's moved on, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think they took some big steps over the winter. They are the most improved podium pace. It would have been different if he'd been in that group, because you had Dobby, you had Rins, you had Dobby at times by yourself. That's what Brad done, but he looks good on the bike, he looks comfortable. We always said his style was going to really suit, and it is still quite early in their MotoGP career.
Just had a couple of tweets already coming in. A lot of opinion points, aren't there, to go on this weekend, whether it's the rider injuries, whether it's the yellow flag situation. Who've flown to Barcelona and been into a hospital and had operations. Is that all within the coronavirus? Cal, what I understand is they took their tests and they were all fine and kept in their bubble still because of those restrictions. But Tom Brown has got in touch with us, Michael, and said, remember, and says, the new yellow flag rule is a joke. How many people will accidentally run into the gravel at the end place? It happened to Misano, for example. You look at your dashboard and it's quite easy to run on into turn 1 and go, drat.
It's so true. And then there would have been a single yellow flag nulled, so for me, it doesn't work as they're kind of stipulating at the moment, but it may get revised.
Alex Calcross says 1.5 seconds off. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Alex Alex Rins, I'm thinking Sam Lowe's for Alex Rins. I'm thinking that kind of situation in Qatar. It might be where the team step in and goes, that's created a quandary for Lucho and his team, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's one of those, if you feel it too badly, it's obviously going to be painful, but it's when you stop and then your hands a little bit before, where the doctors need to save the riders from themselves, and that goes for Alex and Mark. Their care, they've got the mindset that it's all about the recovery. They're not focused on looking a sick note off their doctor. They want to get back on the...
Let's not go there about that kind of reading material, but quite entertaining. But on Twitter, it's all lit up about whether the right thing has been done here by Alex here on BT Sport. And it's our job to ask the questions, what are they'll be similar. In fact, in terms of the rubber down, Michael, that does mean that they'll rubber down.
Yeah, in theory, the track should be even faster this weekend, so a little bit of rain during the week won't have done too much
enough to have washed any of that away. I just want to talk about Valentino late choice as well. It was on the grid that he switched to. And then a retirement from the race, which was a very, very strange one, and I've heard that Yamaha have actually sent engines back to Japan to be checked to get a check. But there were a couple of concerns there.
That's interesting. Most interested in that. It was a difficult weekend for Valentino right up to that point. Obviously, the tyre choice on the grid and then able to fight on the bike, so they need to find something for him to get a better feeling with the bike, to get better tyre life. We're a little bit stockier. Valentino's taller, obviously that gives him a few extra kilos to carry, which then stresses the tyre corner at speed. Then obviously you pick the throttle up earlier to make up that lack of corner speed, which then worked.
Speed weather, Yamaha, they have changed things there. Something's happened. That bike, Fabio Quartararo says it's a harder bike to ride. So development of it that little bit more, and it's not quite suiting Valentino.
Valentino's always been a strong race, aggressively late, so they are two different riding styles, that's for sure. And you could be correct in that where the Yamaha factory team have gone back to what's in the satellite squad, chose that older chassis, and you could see Morbidelli.
There he comes through the final corner. 8th youngest winner in MotoGP history last time out. We're just back to his first ever Grand Prix win, which was here at Jerez. You remember that? Started at the back of the grid, and that was his first win. And you think where what he's done since then. Should have won a Moto2 championship. Last year missed out. Talking of impressive first races of the year, Dolphin. Broken collarbone, gets it plated, main barrier, but puts it on the podium, and is 16 points clear of Marc Marquez. Now, if Mark isn't riding this weekend, nice, well, it wasn't great to hear when we found out that he wasn't going to get a 2020 bike. But Taka Nakagami...
Signs of what Taka's capable of. In morning warm-up last week, he was right at the front, setting super fast lap times, but needs to perform a little bit more to warrant that seat. Obviously, HRC would like to have a Japanese rider on Honda.
Crutchlow's having a busy session. This is his 13th lap he's off with a 1:39. Faster than Tito Rabat, with a pin in his... Imagine him riding with a wooden spoon between his teeth, didn't you, for the whole weekend? But it looks like he's going to keep going.
Sessions to save yourself for Sunday, but Cal, with the amount of laps he's done in this session, already 12 on the board, he must be feeling it's not niggling him too much when he's out there, and it doesn't get any worse as the weekend progresses. It's Cal, he'll be able to kind of block it out. He's had to come back from a lot of injuries. If you can forget about the pain, get on the bike, focus. There's a lot to be said for the adrenaline and the sheer focus. You're not thinking about pain, you let that go to the back of your mind, unless it's really acute and it's really sharp, and then it keeps...
record viewing figures for French TV last weekend. He was on the front page of L'Equipe, which is the big day, but to be on the front page of that would be the equivalent of Cal being on the back page, shall we say, in France. First French winner in over 20 years. He was 5 months the last time we had a French winner, and hopefully it's great for the French side of the sport.
It's so big that Johan Zarco get crashed, and Johan comes so close himself but never quite delivered it, and he would seem genuinely happy for Fabio. Even got a mention on BBC.
Yeah, I think he got a couple. He did get a couple, but the fact is he wasn't on all the sports papers. It's just an attitude thing, isn't it? And I'm so pleased for Fabio. I'm pleased for French can only go ahead with fans. That's because here at Jerez, it's paid for by the local government, by the Andalusian. Got back-to-back races on. Brno, it's paid for by the Moravian government. In the French Grand Prix, Le Mans is hired by club. First actual team to employ a female manager in the French league. But anyway, Claude Michy's and how big a welcome back home. If that's the first race where we've got fans in. Ooh! Morning.
So, Valentino's bike stopping. Can you...
Performance-wise, but also okay on the front. But due to let the tire get back.
Going well for Valentino, and that maybe Valentino's warning decided he wanted to come in.
The point of view, we decided to send that engine in Japan. Different engine
Here, it's super noisy down here, and those masks.
Well, he'll have Smart looking to try and book an early place into Q2. What a fast is that at any point? The old and the new. What a lap into early time attack mode here. There'll be a lot of riders that won't be bothering. Off Rossi, and Alex Rins find the going really, really tough. He's a full 8 laps, Alex Rins. We haven't seen him out on circuit. Start the weekend for Crutchlow.
With a minute left of this one, Ika Lekawon is in there. Alicia Spargaro on the...
Really found himself floundering, so these are encouraging temperatures close to the mid-50s high. It was like he was riding on ice.
There's Maverick Vinales with 9 seconds left in the session, goes up into second place. This is looking great. Matt, so excited to have all these manufacturers fighting.
At the moment, there are 3 KTMs inside the top. Rossi at the moment is trying to depose him. Rossi on a decent rhythm here. With that.
A few riders out there with medium rears on.
Yeah, Maverick 3 sectors, barring him fluffing his lines in this back straight in the first corner. Yes, he has. 37.063. That's third quickest.
First time in MotoGP history. This is the Andalusian Grand Prix at the Ancondieta. A chance, they'll all see it as a chance to take points off Marquez early on in the season, knowing that at some quicker than ever.
Yeah, he was passing riders, cutting through the field. He's on form, and he just needs to get back to full fitness.
Another thing Alberto Puig said. Slow.
That's good watching, looking at the dexterity with the thumb and forefinger. He's got some power to pull off his other gloves, so obviously...
So David Munoz, who is the new crew chief down there for Valentino Rossi, so he has had a change in his crew. He's taken on a new dimension with a nul point in the opening round of the championship. Yeah, it was, it looked good. But his teammate Maverick Vinales is fastest ahead of him, a 1:37, can't they? 3 riders in the top 6. Jack Miller is top Ducati, Nakagami top Honda. Now, take our breath, and when we come back, a little bit more discussion on this, and then we've got the first free practice for Moto.